Hey, I'm Matt, and welcome to the Mr. Maple Show.
And I'm Tim, and we greatly appreciate you watching this video. Today's video is on variegated conifers. I hope this is a video you'll really enjoy. I know a lot of people have been asking for some more conifer content, so we hope that today's video helps satisfy some of those cravings.
Yeah, dwarf conifers and variegated conifers were two of our most requested ones. We did a video on dwarf conifers, so be sure to check that out. If you like variegated conifers, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Make sure to comment in the comment section below and sign up for our weekly emails on Mr. Maple. We had 10 new exciting plants every single Tuesday at 10, and a lot of the content we're discussing here in today's video will be on upcoming 10 at 10s very soon. So definitely sign up for those and get ready. Today we're going to be talking about variegated conifers. So sticking with that variegated conifer theme, we've got a lineup here of some interesting variegated conifers. A nice assortment of different types of conifers as well.
Yeah, I love variegation. Variegation adds so much flash in the landscape and garden, and you can do that with evergreens through variegated conifers. The very first variegated conifer we're going to be talking about today is Picea orientalis, Arya Compacta.
Yeah, a really nice form. This one's going to have those bright yellow accents everywhere the sun's hitting the foliage, so you're going to get even more brighter yellow. I think of it as a more denser, fuller form, and it's a nice compact form too, but it's kind of got everything you like about gold drift in a much more fuller, denser habit.
Yeah, with that upright habit, very, very dense. And this is one that's really going to give that gold color that you're going to really love as a compact, upright oriental spruce. Yellow, I love the yellows. They add so much to the landscape and garden. And this is a way you can contrast against your blues, your reds, and your other greens out in the landscape with this yellow color that Arya Compacta provides.
So next up on the table, we have a conifer that's variegated that you can't miss. I mean, these are glowing. These are the Huie Smiths. We list this one as a Thuja orientalis. I've seen it as Plicatus orientalis as well. But basically, it's an oriental arborvitae with that amazing, bright, contrasting color. This one, as you can see, throws on some dynamic yellows that just makes it a beacon of color there in the garden.
And we hope this makes it to a 10 at 10. A lot of our employees are talking about buying us out of all of them before they ever get listed. But this would make an amazing screen.
Blame Brian and everybody else in the
everybody else at the nurseries. This is a plant that just puts on some amazing variegation of those dark greens with that light yellow variegation that contrasts so nicely. That color really shows up the best when you put it in full sun. And this is a plant that will get you almost about a foot of growth per year.
Yeah, it's really nice, and that foot of growth a year really does get it out there a little bit. Oriental arborvitae typically do grow pretty well, and so we list as 6 inches to a foot of growth a year, but typically it's on the upper grouping of that, and just some great colors. You know, if you give this one some more sun, typically it picks up the colors, and this one works down to zone 5 as well. So excellent variegated conifer there in the landscape.
Next up, we have a Pinus wallichiana that's variegated called Frosty. I love those Pinus wallichianas. They just give something unique with those really long needles. This one's really special because it gives variegation with those needles.
Yeah, being a Himalayan white pine, you get those extremely long needles, and it's easy to see where this one gets the name Frosty. It's got that white and yellow variegation that really flushes true. It's really fun on that longer needle style as well. Makes a great palette for that color.
When you have those blue needles of the Himalayan white pine mixed in with that white and yellow variegation, it adds a lot to a tree that could get about 10 to 12 feet in 15 years. And so this is a plant that's going to be something that goes down to about zone 6, I believe. And this is a plant that's going to really thrive and do well in a lot of people's landscape and garden.
Yeah, with about a foot of growth a year too, it's nice of a variegated one that kind of gets out there a little bit. And Frosty's just the perfect name for it too. You've heard me say I like when a plant has a great name for it. Well, this describes perfectly with the variegation this one does. So next up we have Cedrus atlantica Silverspitz. Now this is a beautiful Cedrus atlantica, so it's a blue atlas cedar with some amazing colors. This one contrasts extremely well with itself. It's going to have that bluer older growth with then yellowish silvery variegation over top of that.
Yeah, I like that two-tone color contrast. That blue of the blue atlas contrasts so nicely with that creamy white variegation on that new growth flushes. It makes this have something very unique and something different for a blue atlas cedar.
Yeah, this one was an introduction by a Hortsman nursery, famous for so many plants, and it really just contrasts so nicely with itself. Now, Silverspitz actually gets out there pretty well at over a foot of growth a year. We typically list this one at around 12 to 15 foot in 10 years, so an excellent grower. and just some amazing contrast even within this plant just to itself.
Yeah, and as a zone 5 through 9 plant, this is a great tree to put out in your landscape and garden to contrast with some of your Japanese maples and give a unique variegated interest to an evergreen.
Yeah, I love that bluer older growth. I think it really gives this one something, especially on those new growth flushes. I mean, the fact that it's a blue Atlas cedar and has those darker tones to it makes that variegation even more striking.
So one of my favorite species of pine is Pinus thunbergii, the Japanese black pine. This next one we have is a variegated form of that. It's called Oculus Draconis, often referred to as a dragon eye form, and this is the dragon eye form of the Japanese black pine.
Yeah, I love Pinus thunbergii. They're very heat tolerant. These work zones 5 through 10, and they're just exceptionally durable. I always feel like those are some of the most durable plants, the Pinus thunbergii. They're also popular for bonsai for that very reason, that they're so durable. This one being a variegated form would make a really interesting candidate, I think, for a bonsai.
And you talked about their durability. Pinus thunbergii are salt tolerant, they're heat tolerant, they're pollution tolerant. So they're a great pine for a lot of people that aren't used to gardening. And this is one that's a variegated form of it. And I really like the variegation because you have that darker variegated needle on the outside, and then it gets towards the inner, that eye part of it is that lighter, creamier green. And that gives that two-tone look. It gives us something a little bit extra to a dragon eye pine.
Yeah, an excellent one for a container too. Typically we list this one around 6 to 8 foot, even in 10 years. So a medium growing plant, but some amazing color contrast. One that really looks, contrasts with itself on that variegation. And I think dragon eye really well describes what the variegation style is on this one as well.
And now one thing to keep in mind when we're talking about Oculus Draconis, there are many other forms of Oculus Draconis. That basically means dragon eye, which is a variegated type description of used in a lot of other pines like Pinus densiflora, Pinus coriensis. And so there's a lot of other forms of Oculus Draconis, and the one we're talking about today is that Pinus thunbergii, the Japanese black pine.
We don't always talk about variegated conifers, but when we do, we talk about it a lot. So we really like these roundtable discussions. We do them here at our square table, but this is just the beginning of the discussion. You can always continue the discussion in the comment section below, or catch us at our 9 a.m. premieres. Oftentimes, Tim, Brian, and I will jump in there and be in the conversation as these videos are premiering. And right now they're premiering every day at 9 a.m., so it's a great way to catch us and just kind of be involved in the conversation. So our conversation segments have been a big popular addition to some of our videos. So we get into it a little bit here with our topic today, which is variegated conifers.
So out of the favorite ones out here, my favorite is Van Huie Smith. I figured I'd steal the question and go ahead and jump right in. I love this plant because of that yellow on dark green. It's so striking, so different, and it just catches your eye. It's hard to get your eyes away from this plant when you're looking at it.
Yeah, it's always popular. It's definitely the most popular with some of our employees lately. Everybody's trying to buy these out before they even get listed. So yeah, apply it, Mr. Maple, I guess. I don't know. I think they're going to hit the website, but they definitely have been very popular. It's one that brings the drama. I mean, it's easy to see why people like this one. I'm actually thinking about taking it into the landscape and planting a backdrop by a fence of these, and then putting an Acer palmatum celebration or the original purple corals as the tree contrasting off these, just to create even a little bit more drama going on there. So, amazing plants to pair with some of those purple Japanese maples. The variegated conifers, all those are going to play off that extremely well. I could easily pick Van Huie Smith as my favorite of this group. I would say traditionally my favorite of this group would have been the Oculus Draconis. Like, that is one that I'm always drawn to. It's one I always go take pictures of in arboretums. It's just really colorful. I like that dragon eye appearance to it. It's 50-50 for me, so I am torn on that, although I have a specific plan of what I want to create with the Van Huie Smith soon.
Yeah, I know that the yellow color contrasts so dynamically with the dark green foliage that it gives it something that everybody who sees it says, I want one of those in my garden. And you've already got a spot often when you see this plant, you say, oh, I know what I want to do with that. Next up on my favorite list would be the Silverspitz. I mean, I love the fact that you've got a blue Atlas cedar that's variegated. Blue Atlas cedars are some of my favorite of the cedars, and the fact that you get that blue color with some extra variegation to it, that adds a lot and it pairs so well with a lot of the Japanese maples that we do.
If you notice on Mr. Maple, we've been adding a lot of cedruses. We're a big fan of cedruses for the South. They're very durable. They can go a lot of places. They're diverse in just the species for all the different locations they can be. Silverspitz is a fun one just because it brings the drama. I mean, we like the colorful, flashy plants, so it's easy for us to set up a video on variegated plants. It is a great one, though, for that high intensity contrast, for sure.
And then the yellow of Arya Compacta, I think that's going to give such a nice contrast out the landscape and garden with your light greens and your dark greens, that I think that one could be used in so many places, being it's got that denser habit, but then can provide that yellow compact shape out in the landscape and garden.
I was a little shocked with Arya Compacta how rare that one was. Doing a little research on it, I expected it's an older cultivar to be out there more, but it's kind of disappeared a little bit. I think it's a fun plant that you don't see offered that often really anymore, but great color pattern to that as well.
And I think probably the rarest plant on the table is probably the Frosty.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
I mean, that's such an amazing plant, but it's just not out in the nursery trade as much. Most people, when they're producing the wallichiana, might do something like Zebrina, but this is another variegated wallichiana that just adds something extra and something different.
Now, if you were going for a container planter, which of these would you choose? Is there a plant here you think looks better in a big pot?
Well, it'd be hard to pick between your Arya Compacta and your Oculus Draconis. I mean, you think about those Japanese black pines as the bonsais, like you talked about before, how they just get that nice bark interest to them. I could see a very old Pinus thunbergii Oculus Draconis in a pot that would really give something unique and special, almost like a big bonsai.
Yeah, those Japanese black pine are always classic for that, for sure. I actually bought my wife some big containers for Valentine's Day, so I'm kind of debating which direction I'm going to go still. So part of my question may be helping me out for how I'm going to plant those. But definitely a diverse collection of variegated conifers that we're going through here today. Let us know in the comment section below which your favorite plant was from today's video. We've got Arya Compacta, Huie Smith, Frosty, Silverspitz, and Oculus Draconis at the end there. So which of those was your favorite, and what variegated conifers would you like to see us cover next in some of our upcoming videos? Hey, thanks for clicking on another episode of the Mr. Maple Show. We hope you like this collection of variegated conifers. If you love that conifer content, definitely check out our channels there. We basically have described them as different channels, but we have playlists on our YouTube channel, and you can break those down. Our conifer show is called the Conifer Collector, and it's a great way to go directly to our conifer content. You can go through that playlist, and there's just a ton of different conifer videos on there, and we're going to be adding more continuously. So let us know if you like that format. We're going to treat those basically as individual shows. So there's going to be some fun flowering content coming this spring, and just different little playlists, though, that we'll treat almost as different shows here on the Mr. Maple Show.
So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you find out when each and every one of those episodes are coming out. And make sure you subscribe to our weekly emails on MrMaple.com, because if you're really excited about these shows, you're probably also excited about getting these trees into your garden. And by doing that, you'll find out when we're listing these trees for the very first time, or relisting them after they've been sold out. So make sure you're signing up for our weekly emails on MrMaple.com to find out about all those new and exciting plants.
Hey, if you're watching this video, we've probably already hit 8,000. If not, we're really close. We're giving away some hats for that. We've got some really fun announcements for 9,000, and I may plan something really crazy for 10,000. So definitely be subscribing to the Mr. Maple Show. The best way to support our channel is shopping on MrMaple.com, but the second best way to support our channel is sharing our videos with your gardening friends. So we greatly appreciate that. God bless.
And have a great day.